Tonight I finished mounting the headlights to the car and have attached all the wiring. I played around with the lamps just to get the positioning right. I'm still not entirely certain I've got it 100% right for the main beam and the dips, but they seem okay. I also worked out why I wasn't able to mount them securely, and it's because inside here there's this little domed washer thing, and I had it upside down. I thought the dome had to go to the top, but it doesn't. It goes the other way up. Or at least that seems to be the way that I can then do everything up tight and actually lock them in place. There is a little bit of vibration on them. It's not too bad. They're reasonably stiff. People have mentioned that I could put a tie bar between them, which I can do because the mounting point is forward of the radiator. But I don't really like the look of them, and one of the points of this car was to accentuate the high front. So putting a bar across there will sort of break that visually. It'll divide the radiator, and I don't think it'll look very good. So I want to avoid doing that if I can. If I do have to add one, I'll have to paint it black or something so it doesn't show up as much. If we turn it on, so the light switch is over here. That's the side marker position, which turns on the instrument lights. I get a lot of light spill down the bottom of the car. It turns on the side markers, and with these, in the end, I ended up cutting off the earth lead because I had somewhere to mount it on this side. You can see there's a bolt there, and this is where the bracket for the guard goes. Because the car is not 100% symmetrical, on this side, that bolt is actually in line with where the bracket goes. So I wasn't able to get to it to attach the earth strap. In the end, I decided, well, it's a metal car with a metal body and everything's earth, so the whole body is earth. So I don't think there's any problem just earthing these through the wings. If we switch this to the second position, when the marker lights are on, so are the rear tail lights. So if we now switch this to the headlamp position, the headlamps come on. So I'm actually waiting for it to get dark because I really want to see what they look like outside and how much light I get out of them. These are 35 watt bulbs, but I've tried it once. I took the car outside and pointed it at the garage door, but it was a bit too light, and so I could only see the spot of light when I was up quite close. And I actually thought one of the bulbs had blown already because there was only one spot of light, but it turns out I just had both lamps pointing inwards at just the right angle so that the distance I was at, there was just one spot of light in the middle. These do have high beam and dips. So on the other side of the instrument panel here, there are two little switches. One actually shuts off the fuel pump. It's an electric fuel pump. I can turn that off. And the other one is hooked to a relay. And I'm actually using that as my high beam and my dip switch. So I'm still not sure I've actually got the lamps oriented the right way. This is why I need to wait until I can go outside and actually get a fairly good distance back from the garage door and point the lamps at it and see what they do. But it seems to be dipping them down a bit. I'm not sure how good they are anyway, to be honest. So the other thing, when the headlamps are on, of course, the tail lights are still on. The brake lights don't come on until the ignition is switched on. You can hear the fuel pump ticking away. So that's the brake lights there. The brake lights are on at the moment because the brake switch operates off the brake mechanism, and the brake mechanism is also worked by the handbrake. So unlike a modern car where I think it's only the foot brake that actually operates the brake lamps. On the Austin 7, when you've got the handbrake on, the brake lamps come on as well. So I don't like leaving it running too long like that. It is drawing a fair amount of current. So I'm not sure how accurate that ammeter is. I really need to hook up my proper multimeter to the battery and see what the real current draw is like. But it is quite a bit. But that's expected. So that's good. I'm quite pleased with how they've come out. And they look neat enough, I think. Especially with this armoured stuff just to tidy up the wires. And I think the finish on them's fine. They're a little bit beaten up, but it's meant to be an old car, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll see if I can wait till it's dark, and then I'll wheel the car outside and see if I can figure out where they're pointing. I did, when I took it outside the first time, I put it into reverse and actually forgot to use the clutch. And it actually went into reverse, which surprised me. It wasn't too tricky, which is interesting. But I just sort of, you have to sort of pull it quite hard to get it into reverse in the first place, because it's all straight car gears, and it just slotted in and off it went. So that was interesting. So I'm outside now. This is what it looks like with the side markers. Turn on the headlights. Not sure if that's on dipped or high beam. I'm going to try and get it a bit more square onto the door, see if I can notice a difference. Just realised the lamps are at different heights, but I can fix that. But now I can see which way's dipped and which way's high. So it's on high beam. That's dipped. I've no idea what height they should be aimed at yet, but at least I know I've got them up the right way. I just need to figure out why these are different heights. Seems a bit odd, but those are basically working now. This is down the end of the driveway just to see how bright they are once this taxi goes past. So they work reasonably well. And then on the high beam, I've adjusted the height of the lamps, so they're now both at the same height, hopefully. To do that, it's quite easy. You just bend this part of the bracket down and then rebend the vertical. So if you bend this down, this will come forwards as well as down, and then you can just bend this back to get it straight again, but with this now sitting lower down. And that lets you adjust the height. I measure the height to the bracket. You can't measure to the headlamps, of course, because they can move to set the alignment. So you have to measure to a fixed point. So I measured from here to the ground. And I got to use my new toy, my new tool that I bought after seeing them on another YouTube video, a chap called Musty One, who sort of repairs random bits and pieces. And he had some of these, and I was wondering what they were, so I had to look them up. They're Nipex plier wrenches, I think they call them. It's basically like a pair of pliers and an adjustable spanner at the same time. You can set the jaw opening by sliding that up and down. And they open up quite a long way. So also because they move parallel, they're quite good for being able to grab things like those brackets when you want to adjust them, or just being able to get large nuts or things that need a big opening, such as the like on the mill. So example for the collet holder on the mill here, you can set these and they would fit on there really nicely, nice and tight. So not a substitute for a good set of spanners, of course, but really quite useful. I got these off Amazon because it worked out cheaper for me to get them off Amazon from the States than buying them locally, by about $50, I think. So I think they should come in handy. The car, I'm still going to need to play with the alignment on the lights. I need to find out how you're supposed to actually set that pattern. I don't really know how that's supposed to work. I suppose I could use the MG, drive that a fixed distance from the garage door, turn on the lights and mark on the garage door with some masking tape where the beams are, and then try and set this up so it's kind of similar, I guess. But the thing is, when I take it to get it inspected, you can adjust all that at the time, hopefully. So that's good. What's next to do on this? I need to actually start figuring out how I'm going to strap all of this sort of stuff down, bolt down the bonnet. I have got in here these are the proper springy sort of bonnet catches, which normally you'd sort of have two of them, one there and one at the back, but I can't do that because the guard's in the way. So I could just fit one in the middle to hold it down, and then this is going to have probably two leather straps. So that would work, just one of these in the middle and then the two straps, one at the front, one at the back. Maybe for now I'll just fit the straps. Same at the back, that's going to need a strap to hold that on. Other than that, it needs a windscreen. I guess it needs a rear vision mirror as well. And I rang a auto glass making place today and talked to them. And they can definitely just cut flat laminated glass for me. They gave me the dimension of the glass so I know what sort of diameter frame I need to make. So I'm thinking it's going to be a V screen. It's probably not going to be very big. It doesn't need to be very high. But I've got quite a deep scuttle area here, so I can actually make the screen reasonably deep, but I guess it'll follow the angle of this. And just be a frame. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it at the sides. I just need to play around a bit and see what actually looks best. But it's definitely getting close to being done.